Hello guys, this is Octavius from North American Archery. Thank you so much for tuning into our channel. Today I want to talk to you about single arrow practice, especially for the traditional bow hunter. Now I realize that a lot of people that tune into our channel are not traditional bow hunters. I get it. But there's also a lot of you that have either bow hunted before or you want to start bow hunting, and this is one of the most critical things that I do in my practice is shoot a single arrow, especially when I'm in the midst of deer season. Next week we have what's called a deer reduction zone season, where we have a couple of weeks where we can go into deer reduction zones, or what's called an urban area, maybe in your state, and we have bag limits in order to take the population of the deer down, because they're hitting cars, they're eating all the crops, or they might be tearing up people's yards, whatever it is. But we have tags that we were given in order to manage the resource. So I'm literally about a week away from being able to hunt. So I'm in the mode of not shooting groups. I'm not doing trick shots. I'm not just shooting 40, 50 yards away at this point just to get more confidence. I'm actually shooting close, and I'm shooting single arrows. And I have 7 different reasons why I think that you should shoot single arrows. Now, I mentioned that you want to shoot close. Well, the reason why you want to shoot close is that most of the bow hunting I've ever done, I've always harvested my deer within 15 yards of the tree stand, the blind, or whatever it is I was hunting from. The only exceptions to me hunting deer or any other game where I would shoot further will be spot and stalking. But most of the time I'm in a tree stand or a blind, and they're within 15 yards. So I usually practice the things that I'm telling you under 20 yards, because that's typically what you're going to have during deer season. So number 1 is take a cold shot every single day. What do I mean by a cold shot? A cold shot is when you go out either in the morning or the evening, and your first shot is what you're going to judge where you're truly at when it comes to being a traditional bow hunter. Because if you're sitting in a tree stand all day long and it's 20 degrees and you're freezing, and that nice 10-point typical walks in front of your tree stand at 15 yards, you need to know where you're at with no warm-up. I came out here and I shot my first arrow at about 10 to 12 yards and drilled the target behind me right in the lungs. So it showed me that I am hitting on all cylinders within 15 yards, 12 yards. That's all I care about. Okay, this is fine tuning down to the actual day of your hunt. Number 2, shoot single arrow at different yardages. What do I mean by that? Exactly what it says. 5, 10, 15, 20, maybe 25 even. Shoot single arrows, and you can stand in the same spot. You can shoot an arrow at different targets at different yardages. Sometimes I actually recently been doing 10, 20, 30, 40. But it's a single arrow at every single target, and I'm having no warm-up, and I'm judging your yardage accordingly. So you want to shoot an arrow at different yardages so that you don't get used to that same yardage. And you only need to do that maybe 5, 10, 15, 20 even, like I've been telling you. But if you really want to shoot out to 25 for confidence, do so. Number 3, remove the backstop if possible. It's critical in traditional archery that when you start to go over into actual deer hunting, you're going to want to make sure that you don't have a backstop behind your target if possible, because you won't have a backstop when the animal comes in front of you. You got to be able to see the sight picture and understand that that animal and the spot that you're focusing on is the only thing that matters to you. You shouldn't have a backstop to allow you how to judge the yardage, because in these situations you don't have that. Number 4, practice holding shots.
What do I mean by that?
Practice when you come up and you go to full draw, go ahead and hold as long as you can, maybe even 4 to 5 seconds, 6 seconds, because there's been times in my bow hunting career where the deer didn't present the shot until he came from out under the tree or the bushes or the thicket. I first had a shot, then he goes into another area, then he comes back out again. But if I let down, he's going to see me because he's that close. Because they can hear all that. They can see movement. Their eyesight's not the best, but they can definitely notice. It happened to me last year. I didn't get the footage of it, but literally when I began to let down, the deer spooked. It was a nice buck, about a 4 to 6 pointer at that point of the season. I was just trying to put something on the table or in the freezer, and it just saw me and it left. It matters. You need to understand that sometimes when you hold, it's going to be better than letting down, okay? Because if you hold the shot, you're going to get a better shot because he's going to come right out and he's in that pathway, and you can predict where he's going to come out on the end of that thicket or behind that tree. Number 5 is simulate quick decision shooting. It's important that it's called quick decision shooting because I'm not talking about snap shooting. I'm talking about when the buck is on a hot doe and it comes trotting through the timber where you're set up at, and you have to stop him, and all of a sudden he stops, and you have to put an arrow in the pump house. It's not always like on TV where you see a guy have all this time to see him come in on footage. Literally, you have within 10 seconds to make a decision. So you need to be able to always have your head on the swivel, understanding, especially in the rut, that a buck can run right in front of you, and you need to be able to stop him, get his attention, come to full draw, and make it happen. So you want to practice that. Practice your or whatever noise you mean. Come here, boy. Whatever it is, okay? Make the noise that you're going to stop the deer with, and then take the shot quickly, okay? Still in your shot process, have the same draw cycle, hit full anchor, do all those things, but start practicing that. That way you'll be ready when it matters the most. Number 6, hold and move to the target. What do I mean by that? Hold like I told you, but then move and then release the arrow, because sometimes you have to lead the deer a little bit because you're locked in on him, but you're holding until you have that shot, but you still got to focus on that spot to let it happen. Does that happen a whole lot? Not really, but about once every season I have to use that technique because I'm already at full draw. Something subconsciously, since I'm an instinctive shooter, doesn't like the shot, so I'm following him. Maybe I let down, maybe I don't, but I want to be able to make that shot happen when it matters the most. And then number 7, practice a smooth draw with little movement. I can't stress that enough, because when I used to come into full draw with shooting, let me put an arrow in my bow here. I used to literally go like this, knock it, and come up like that. Literally just come up real quick, because I was a quick shooter, almost borderline snap shooter. You can't do that in a tree stand. If I come up and I just come up quick, a little too soon, it's going to alert the deer. And I saw him like looking at me. It's not by a surprise anymore. You can do that if he looks away, but you know as well as I do, if you hunt it long enough, sometimes they're looking with their peripheral, and they see that they're looking. So I've learned to come up slowly, hold on him, really focus, hunker down, and gradually pull back, and then take the shot, instead of trying to just come up real quick and shoot. It's just not the application for it. In a blind or in a tree stand, not a good idea, in my opinion, because it's lost me some deer over the years. I do shoot quickly like that if I'm spotting stalking, like hogs and stuff like that. But When it comes to deer, I'm trying to make as little movement as possible. You can't do what I just showed you if you're overbowed though. You want to make sure you have a bow that you can get that back tension and slowly draw it and then make the shot happen and make a good shot. So guys, I try to share a couple things with you. I'm not saying these are the only tips, but I really do think when it comes to single arrow shooting, it's time to make the transition and really make one arrow at a time matter. That way when the pressure comes, you can do it, like I always say, when it matters the most. All right guys, I appreciate you tuning into the channel. I wish you all the best when it comes to this deer season. Please put in the comments or get on one of my videos, let me know, send me some pictures of the deer that you harvest this year. I really do care about that because we're one big happy family in the traditional archery community. Thank you for your likes, thank you for your subscriptions. Continue to turn on your post notifications, and you remember this, you don't have to get ready when you stay ready. All right guys, we'll talk to you soon.